5th of April, Prem Reserve game, Wellington versus Avalon, Haitaito Park. Referee Paul Mitchell. We are about 5 minutes into the game, I think. Maybe 10 minutes into the game if we start on time. So you got your hand up there, and already the Avalon back line was up on the offside line. So what was the point of having your arm up? Either put it up and tell the 10 to keep back, or don't put it up. Paul, if you just go back to that situation over about where you are now and look at your positioning, be very careful you don't close yourself off to the outside backs. Make sure you get that right shoulder out when you're facing the goal line, and have a quick scan out wide as well as just in close. Quite often it's very easy just to turn yourself off from that outside back line by looking at into the phase rather than making sure you're looking sideways and orientating your body sideways. Good to see you glancing at the Avalon back line there. Good awareness. But there, you're getting very closed off instead of having that body orientation more up and down the paddock. Okay, that obviously then turned to a scrum, but just before that, be very careful that you don't close yourself off too early. So I reckon that just at that last phase, and maybe even this one, you were slightly too flat too early. If you just give yourself another 1-2 paces back, you'll have a little bit more angle in, and if it goes to the right, you can run straight through without a slight loop. And I think it'll also open you up to the outside back, defending backs as well. And then as the ball is clearly coming out, that's when you can flatten out. Not that the opposition back line has been offside so far, but another day it could be. Be interested in this scrum, so I'm going to be looking to see if Avalon are turning before they actually go forward, which is what you should be looking for. You want to see that forward push before there's any turn. So there, potentially, you could have played advantage against Avalon. Because I reckon they just spun that scrum to Wellington's disadvantage. So become aware of that kind of scenario. So Wellington ball again. Let's have a look what Avalon do. Definitely a better scrum that time. Everyone stayed square. So I don't know if you had a word or not. Good to see you having a chat around this scenario, considering what's some reckless ones earlier. Just one of 2 or 3. Nothing vicious or anything like that, but certainly a good time to have a chat about it all. So well done. Good body orientation here, looking sideways into the scrum, gives you easy access vision to the defenders. So that scrum there, you closed yourself off, and the Avalon first of 8 picked up on that, and he brought his whole back line up. Although in this case it obviously didn't pay off with that try, but you need to be very aware of what you need to be looking at in those kind of scenarios, and keep that side-on body orientation, walking back with the ball so you can keep your eye on the ball, but also keep your eye on the defending players. So that was a much better process for your turn to take. You actually looked at the first height, and I think you probably actually said something to him about staying back. So that's good to see you actually got that awareness. So I'm not quite sure what that penalty is for. Maybe going down off the feet over the ball. Just make sure your secondary signals are very clear, very slow, very deliberate. So I'm happy with that ruck position just back there, where you actually back to give yourself a little bit of vision into it, and then you went as it came out flat into the D line. So that looked a lot more vision orientated, that you could see everything. So maybe you got too flat too early again, but at least you went back and had a look. So there was another 2 penalties in a row around maybe deliberate offside. A chance there after you give the penalty, blow time off, in light of your previous talking to the captain, to then call him out and say 1-2. That is now a increasing number of penalties as we come down inside the 22 and into the red zone. In light of our previous talks, if there is another one that I deem to be deliberate within this zone, I will be most likely going to my pocket, or words of such, I would have thought. So obviously doing some explaining there, but whether you spoke to number 10, who I'm assuming is the captain, about what could be coming next, I don't know. So I have to go back and have a look at that phase and just see how maybe you could have got there earlier and quicker into that corner scenario. You may not have been able to, but I'll just need to recollect what was the running line and whether we could maybe have improved that. So that one there, I reckon if you look at your body orientation, you never walk backwards, and therefore you weren't looking at the defending back line. They were not offside, no worries, but another day they could be, so it's just keeping that body orientation, walk backwards and sideways. Practice doing it. So just as interest's sake, did you consider that a two-handed take by Avalon? And if you had held it and not moved forward, would you have flicked around and looked at the Wellington backline? Didn't happen, so we'll never know. I'm sure you would have. So as you make that call, you could have been standing sideways. No reason why you can't see everything and make the call standing sideways. And if you replay that and just look at those outside Avalon backs, I don't know, I reckon they were probably 1 to 2 metres up offside too quick. But you looked back. So I don't know if I picked that up, but I reckon that was a very poor secondary signal. I think it was an attempt to say holding on, trying to use one arm to signal it. So, whistle, signal, and then secondary signal using both arms as required. Good decision there. I reckon he never released. So I think there is you've gone up and made a personal decision explanation to that person, although you've just repeated a little bit there, but I think you can make your decision, no need for explanation, to the individual player, but to just quite clearly say penalty, no clear release, and get on with the game. So how you picked that up, I'm not sure, because if you look back at your body orientation, you were closed off right into the ruck. So maybe you're lucky picked it up in your peripheral vision. But once again, if you had been sideways on, you would have seen it. So now you've rushed that process, and where's that player should be going. You can buy yourself time by actually directing that player down to the other end, watch him go. At least he is behind the post and down the end goal, but another day, it's a good time and a good way to create some time and space for yourself. Slow it down, penalty, call out the player, tell him it's deliberate in the red zone, and direct him down to the opposite end, watch him go through the opposition players, and then get back. And that all buys you time and space. In this situation, you got an injury, so you're getting it anyway, but another day you may not. Sorry about the camera rig there. So there you called the opposition players, and I don't think you need to. If you just drop your arm, that's more than sufficient. So once again, they're a very rush signal, and I'm almost picking that the assist tackler never released. You need to identify that very clearly. And if you look at your head back at that last ruck, very much looking down at the ball, not looking at defenders. Keep that head up, look down with your eyes, easy to scan. So that's an interesting scenario, Paul. Today, I'll back you that Wellington maybe could have run away with that. But on another day, you might have just gone, well, weather's not great. They're never going to get an advantage out of here, and just give the penalty straight away, because that would then be the much greater advantage in those kind of circumstances. Good call. Should have been.
Frenchman, go Frenchman. Oh, head high.
So there, Paul, obviously on the far side it was a head-high situation, but you came straight back to where this point is here. That's a situation where you stay over there and just make sure nothing ensues from that head-high, then come back. So it's just a management thing you need to do there. If you just wind it back a bit to that prior ruck, prior to all that, I reckon the Avalon guy coming around the side of that ruck was, you could have been playing advantage against him very easily for offside at the ruck. Don't know if I picked that up, but just see how long you took to make your signal then. Whistle, signal, secondary signal, and then do your talking. Happy with that unplayable, by the way, so good decision. So just let's look at your body orientation. There's good. Now that's good. Saw the head flick up, so well done. Interesting decision. I'll have to play that one back, but your call, you were down there. Didn't look like they were clearly offside, but obviously you picked it, so it's good. So that scrum, if you look at it, you can clearly see Wellington, all they're doing is going right, right, right and right. Body orientation, body orientation. So this positioning, Paul, I think I'd much rather see you on the goal line at 7, 8. If that had gone in short and driven for the line, you'd have been making a blind decision. Put yourself into a position that covers all spots, and standing in the middle of the goal line, I don't think is appropriate. Get your head up. You'd never looked at the opposing back lines then. You're in the last minute of the couple minutes of the game. You never looked at the defending back line. They were never offside, but you never looked. Sorry for all the movement, got that pole in my road. So what was that penalty for? I'm assuming an Avalon player came over the top and dived on the ball, but there was no signal. But if you play that back, I think you'll find that the penalty was never going to be there. I would be thinking it's a good 10 metres back from there. But I'll have to replay it and have a look. And I'll probably cut out that wandering around with the camera and nothing was going. That seemed to take a long time to give that penalty. No positive communication. Considering how quickly that Avalon player seemed to be over the tackle, there could have been a quick positive communication about release. But certainly from up here I heard nothing. So an interesting situation there, Paul. Did you make the mark? Where did they take the quick tap from? I think you gave Wellington every bit of advantage that they could get in that situation. Didn't seem to have a lot of structure and management to it. You might tell me differently, but from up here it certainly didn't look like that at all.